Good afternoon, everybody. This concludes the webinar of the grief process. So we've been talking about this for the last few, I want to say, week or so, or two. Been started June 1st, and so the last 2.5 weeks. So there's a lot of things that have been talked about in this presentation. So today I'm just basically giving you some key points as well as support on time ministry, PayPal, mz90@gmail.com, and Cash App $remarkable84. So the first thing we're going to talk about is daily affirmation, prayer, grief, reading grief books, support group therapy, self-care, and self-love. Today we're going to have a heart-to-heart conversation today. I'm going to leave this on the screen for you to kind of look at. Nay! Sorry about that, everybody. So for those of you who've been tuning in periodically or those who've been consistent with the grief process, everybody grieves differently. A male grieves differently from a woman. A woman grieves differently from an older person. A child's grief is different. So everybody has different scenarios of how they grieve. So in this series, I show you the grief, how males grieve, I believe, how women grieve, how older people, and how children grieve. And everybody has a different feel of what grief really seems to be in life. And I know a lot of people were struggling this past weekend because it was Father's Day weekend and Juneteenth, and their emotions and their feelings were all over the place. And I can completely understand what that is now. Before I talked about grief, but now to just walk in that shoe and that mindset, it's a whole different world, ladies and gentlemen. And when you finally experience that for your own life, it's like, oh my goodness, it's an eye-opener. And the eye-opener is that, hey, I never knew all this was involved with grief. I didn't know this was all going on behind the scenes. And I didn't know how each person deal with these definitional terminologies and tools. And yesterday I was going to actually put some support group numbers up, and I'm actually going to do that today because I completely forgot them, and I just remembered just now that I need to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on the live and put these support numbers on this platform because it's needed. And so many people out here are struggling day in and day out, and they don't know what they should do and how they should handle these situations. And it's horrible to see like friends and families and loved ones go through this. It's a painful situation to see people just go through this day in and day out. And they struggle with this each and every day. And people struggle with this because they feel like nobody want to listen, nobody seem to care, this and that. And it's just hard. It's just hard to see folks go through this all the time. And with grief, it's more horrible because you don't know what you're about to experience walking in a situation. You don't know what the person's trigger points are at. You don't know how they're feeling on a day-to-day basis. You just know they just need consistent support and consistent reminder that they are loved and they are appreciated. And that is one of the most essential tools in terms of giving them the support that they need. And daily devotions are very beneficial. Prayer is powerful. Reading grief books and give you an understanding. Being around people that understand is very beneficial and it's very important. These tools that you see here, ladies and gentlemen, we have to think about it now. What is it that we don't really understand? And the key point of understanding is a lot of things that people struggle with. Some people shut down because they feel like the world don't understand, or people just feel like they're just lost. And I'm going to actually share the link on the page since I can't put it on the chat of it. So I'm going to go ahead and post it right now while I'm thinking about it. But I'm going to share these photos with you because everybody needs that information. So this is the first one I'm sharing here. And then I'm going to give you another link, another link that I'm going to share with you. Nay! So there's another link I want to share with you today as well. Give me a few minutes. That's going to kind of give you an insight about some of the things that you should do to kind of get the help that you need. And people struggle from this from time to time. It's not an easy road, and it's definitely not an easy journey. Let's see. So, when people go through the things that they go through, it's it's painful. It's very painful. And what I find about grief, it can be very overwhelming at times. And you feel the need that you just don't know what to do and how to handle it and which way you should be going. And which way you should be going is like, hey, I don't understand how this really works for me. How do I know what I need to do for myself? How do I know that I'm going to be okay? Or what can I do to change some of these things in my life? And you understand these things once you finally get through them and over them. And it's so much. So I'm going to find a national hotline for grief counseling because I got a lot of people from different walks of life on here that can kind of help you. I could put the local number from where I'm from, but I'm going to try to reach everybody in terms of where they are, in terms of what they're looking for, in terms of what they need, and the things that kind of can help them. So I'm going to go ahead and share this link, I believe. And also, too, I'm going to give you a link to the Veterans Crisis Hotline as well, for those who are there on that. In fact, you know what? I'm going to actually share the link to that because they have a lot of various numbers. Because even the vets, they're struggling too with dealing with grief, and it's hard on them overall. So I have shared 2 of these today. I'm sorry about it, but I'm going to do it while it's on my mind, and I'm going to make sure people get the right information. Everybody needs support. Everybody needs help. Everybody needs answers to things that they're dealing with and facing right now in their very life. And these things are going to kind of help them get a balance or give them some type of sense of purpose or whatever it is that they're dealing with. And I'm telling you, when they look at the information that's being shared on time, you'll be surprised the information that is being provided today. So let me see what's going on here. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to get to the heart to heart, but I wanted to get that information out. So I want to make sure that everybody has that information. So what I want to talk about today. Everybody has trigger points. Everybody has situations that are brought when it comes to the word grief. You have to be mindful when you speak on these different things in terms of their loved ones or somebody that was very close to them. You have to learn how to speak to people in a way that they can understand. You have to learn how to do that. And most people don't know how to do that. So I recommend just don't say anything at all. Because the less you say, the better off you in the long run. And then most people say, why you say anything? Because sometimes what you say may make them feel worse or may trigger some other things inside of them. We have to think about grief as, wait a minute, I've been grieving all these years. Now somebody I know is starting to walk into this journey of grief. They're trying to get the daily affirmations. They're trying to pray. They're trying to read grief books. They're trying to get support groups. They're trying to do group counseling. They're trying to do therapy. They're trying to do self-care and self-love. And they're trying to find all these answers and things to help them get back on track. And they're in a place right now that is really causing them to say, hey man, I gotta stop. I gotta pause. I gotta think. I gotta relate. And so many people are busy doing their day-to-day routine. They never really take notice that this person or this individual is going through things. You know, a lot of us have busy schedules, this and that. But we have to think about, hey, if I make a phone call, how is this friend of mine doing? And you know, during the week, people are so busy doing whatever they're doing. The weekends, pretty much same thing. Holidays, so you don't really know what you should do and how you should do it, how you should handle it. So I encourage you, everybody, take care of yourself. I encourage you to love yourself and be gentle to yourself. I encourage you to really offer that helping hand to somebody, because when life goes back to somewhat normal in the world, you're still here. You're still crying. You're still upset. You're still hurting. You're still all of these things. Nobody knows what you go through behind closed doors. Only you and the man above does. And if you don't open up and unleash these things, nobody knows what you're going through or what you're feeling. Those things that you are dealing with, it causes you to really lose insight of who you are. You just find yourself in a deep place and you just don't know how to get out of it. You read books. You go to therapy, and you take all the coping skills and teaching principles into consideration. And all of a sudden you feel like, am I really learning from this? Is this really benefiting me? Have I really improved in these areas, or I'm still stuck in the same spot? There's a lot of questions and answers you should really consider asking yourself on a day-to-day basis. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to face. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to consume. And when we finally realize that, hey, we got to take good care of ourselves, we got to do what we need to do to benefit ourselves, we'll be in a better place. But it takes time. It takes dedication. It takes hard work. But most people are like remarkable. Will it get easier? Grief is like it's like a tennis match. You don't know if you're going to be easy one day, you don't know if you're going to be good, and you don't know if it's going to improve something. But if you're still stuck in that same rut, support groups are very important, because you can better understand what your mindset is. Like I said, I encourage you to read books, go to support groups, talk to a one-on-one counselor, apply self-love, self-care, and take good care of yourself, because your health really matters. The things in your body don't seem right or just out of tune, I'm telling you, you definitely have to take care of yourself. You definitely need to hear what your health is saying to you. Because if your health is telling you that you need to take care of yourself and you need to do this and that, do what it's telling you to do. Because you can be moments and minutes away in a hospital bed where it can be prevented. Are you eating right? Are you exercising? Are you sleeping properly? Are you taking care of your mental health? All these things you're taking care of, have you really checked in with yourself? Have you really seen? Because you know, when you are grieving, you're like a walking zombie. So you don't really know what's going on. Ain't really paying attention to what other people's talking about, their feels, emotion. Your head is in clouds, darkness, consumed with all kind of different things, and you're not really receiving what the world is talking about, because it doesn't penetrate you. And when it doesn't penetrate you, you don't know what to feel or how it's going to reciprocate over time. So that's what I want to leave to you. I want you to take care of yourself. We're going to come back with the grief process webinar part 1 next year. But this here is some key tools to think about, like what somebody go through in grief. How do they handle this? The world handles the way they handle it, but how is every individual handling the situation? How is each individual living each day? How are they dealing and coping, and how are they getting proper rest? Are they eating? Are they're taking care of their health? Are they getting enough sleep? Are they really relaxing? Are their mind is overwhelmed with so much stuff? Have they got so much stuff they piled up? Are they overworking themselves? Are they overwhelmed? Are they stressed? Are they under stress? Are they all these things? These are some of the aspects you have to ask yourself, like, dang, this is what's really going on. This is really what's going on behind the scene. The good, the bad, the ugly, the bad, all of that. It's pretty rough, everybody. It's pretty rough. You know, a lot of times when something in the back of your mind tell you to check on these folks, by all means check on them. And when I say check on them and be very gentle, be very mindful, be very attentive about what they're going through, because you never know how life is. You don't know, one minute you're here, next minute you're in the hospital, next minute you're gone. It goes just like that. So love people, appreciate people, check on people, respect them, and appreciate them with the utmost respect. And do what you have to do to be that person in their lives. All right, everybody, I'll be back on with the grief process again next year. I'll let you know the dates and times. It'll be a part 1 of the grief process. We're going to get a little bit more deeper than this, because there's a lot to be talked about grief. My name is Minister Johnson. Have an amazing and a wonderful Tuesday. Take care, and God bless.